There we go. Right. Well, good morning, everyone. So welcome to the DeFi panel. I'm very honored to host this very awesome DeFi panel. So we had a blast chatting in the backstage a little bit. But I will let them introduce themselves first and then also on the protocols that they're working on. So perhaps you can start.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. GM guys, I'm Chris. I'm the founder and CEO of Scalab. And my personal background, I was a full-stack developer and become a cybersecurity engineer. I'm also a certified ethical hacker. And then about my crypto journey, I dive into crypto since 2017 as a Ethereum miner. But yeah, don't think I'm rich. I was mining for my boss. And then yeah, I dive into DeFi since 2021. And then first met Solana and building on Solana first. And in the middle of 2022, we expand onto Sui. And then currently we build the biggest money market for the Sui ecosystem. Scalab is a money market and offering lending and borrowing, flash loan, trading UI tools on Sui blockchain. Last week we have 40 million TVL, and now I think it dropped a little. And then the good thing is we just break 1 billion trading value today. And yeah, that is about Scalab and myself.
Hi, I'm Yan Wen. I'm one of the co-founders of Perpetual Protocol. Perpetual Protocol is perpetual DEX on top of OP. And we are actually one of the few that start with like designing perpetual swap AMM. So we've been in the market, like we launched at 2020, beginning of 2020, so I've been there for like 3 years now. Yep, that's it.
Nice. Hey guys, I'm Ryan. So along with my co-founder Darren, who's sitting here, we run incubation for ICP in Hong Kong. Right. So I think to put it quite shortly, you guys would have probably heard about ICP, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Everyone knows that it kind of went up a little bit today, right? So in essence, what we're trying to do is that we're running a decentralized hub system. There are 20 hubs just like us in Hong Kong, and each hub is incubating, I guess, projects where our niche is, right? So for us, our niche lies in the fintech and the real asset space and the DeFi space, whereas you get hubs around, say, Singapore, you get LATAM, you get US, all the different niches. And the goal is to basically bring all these different protocols on-chain onto ICP through the collaboration of all the 20 hubs.
All right, GM everyone. My name is Danny from MarginX. So MarginX is a perpetual DEX, and then what we actually different is we are actually a permissionless listing DEX. So everyone, just like Uniswap, everyone, you just provide liquidity, then our algorithm will actually generate a perpetual market for you. So we are targeting like a long tail assets. So everyone just provide liquidity, then you can have generate a perpetual market with a newly innovative funding rate mechanism, and then the MM mechanism as well. So I'm in the space since 2017, and I started a payment project before. And then in 2021, I discovered Cosmos ecosystem, and then that's why I pivot to this MarginX project. And MarginX is actually a project built upon Cosmos SDK, and then we are right now in the testnet positions. And feel free to visit our website and then try to get the new experience of perpetual DEX. Thank you, everyone.
All right. And myself, Martinet, and I'm head of developer relations at QuantStamp. So I kind of do security auditing. But today I'm the host here. So let's start off. Like as you have already heard, like this is pretty interesting panel. Like we already have like different protocols that are working on, well, different chains, right? Cosmos, Sui, Ethereum, or it's EVM related, and also the ICP, right? And so we'd like to kind of like see, their perspective, like you guys' perspective on the future, whether the future is multi-chain or not, and whether they will aggregate together, and like what's the differentiators in your guys' opinion on like different of these chains? Right. So yeah, perhaps you can start.
Yeah. So yeah, I will answer the question first. Yeah, I'm sure the future will still be multi-chain because like currently just we have iOS and Android, and for OS system we have like Windows and Linux and MacBook. Yeah, I 100% agree that every chain have its advantage, including like Bitcoin, the most OG, and then Ethereum, Solana, and Sui. And then like for different, like for example, for my personal experience, on Solana and Sui, I think Solana is very good at indexing because they have a bump and seed to generate a PDA based on cryptography. But like Sui, they have a very strict and well design of the assets, like every asset on blockchain is like NFT, and then it's very secure, and its algorithm also make like some like reentrancy bugs. It's not possible. So and for sure, like more like a classic blockchain, including like Ethereum or Bitcoin, they also have like including huge liquidity and like huge developer base. So yeah, 100% agree that future will be still be multi-chain and then maybe more compatible. And then just for different like protocol or different product, including gaming, DeFi, real world assets, whatever. Yeah, they will find like what's the best chain that is suitable for their ideas. Yeah.
I think we are already in market chain wars, and it's not going away. I do believe that each chain will have its own kind of like specialty, like some for gaming, some for DeFi. I think that's reasonable, but actually I don't know. But each chain has its own community. I don't think it will go away so quick. So the multi-chain will be like, I believe that in 5 years it's still the same. Like East probably take the most, but we still have a lot of chain. I think the most interesting thing is like there are people talking about building app chain. So that's part I think that's more interesting now because like projects like like DEX, like games, they are thinking of that, and I do believe that that's kind of like also has its own usage, has its own reason, and I do believe that in the future. It's market chain and also like a chain will interconnect more like a tree structure, like layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, or things like that. So I think that's more, personally I think that's more possible to happen.
Yeah, look, I agree. So, and I know everyone says I agree, but the way, the way I kind of see this is the multi-chain argument is more about how do you kind of improve that user experience, right? So if we're looking at DeFi, I mean, the idea of that multi-chain is about aggregating that liquidity, right? And aggregating the transactions so that you can provide users with an environment where there is low slippage and you can like basically help order books kind of function on chain. So the multi-chain story, yes, it does work. And I think we need to think of it from how does it improve the user experience, whether you're on the Optimism, whether you're on a Sui, or whether you're on a Solana, right? It's about if I was trading on DeFi, what are things I want? I want low gas, I want good liquidity, and I want like basically low slippage, right? So it's like how can we use multi-chain to fulfill that user experience? If we answer that question, then it validates the right and the existence of that multi-chain ecosystem.
Right, so for those who are familiar with Cosmos, actually Cosmos ecosystem is a multi-chain structure. So we are doing IBCs and interchain all the way. So personally, I'm a big believer of multi-chain. And I mean, one of the reasons, just like Ryan mentioned, is the performance. I mean, obviously, if you want to go from chain A to chain B, that's a cross-chain, that will be a headache. But why we do need a multi-chain at the moment is because the current performance of the chain itself is insufficient. So we cannot complete everything on a single chain. So, I mean, from our perspective, from Margex, we actually developed things called one pair, one chain. So when you have a Bitcoin pair, then we'll have a dedicated chain for you for that particular pair. I give you an example. So right now, Margex, we run a Bitcoin order book chain on it. So one day, it will actually take 5 million transactions. So imagine if you have 10 pairs, which is 50 million transactions. I don't think any current mainnet can compete with that particular TPS1 performance. So that's why I think multi-chain at this particular moment is very important because they can cater for different needs. Just like Margex order book DEX. So imagine the whole ecosystem is just flooded with the transactions. Then the chain will be collapsed. So yeah, I mean, I think one of the challenge of multi-chain is because the liquidity will be scattered like on every other chain. So how should we aggregate could be a challenge. So that would be my point of view. Thank you very much.
Well, so Ryan, you touched on like your view on the multi-chain world, but how about like the differentiator on ICP itself, right?
That's like a free show.
Well, I mean, everyone gets to show.
I mean, look, I think the way that we approach things from ICP is we built this from the user experience ground up. What that really means is you hear this conversation about people saying, how are you going to bring the next like billion users on chain, right? I don't feel like we're ready for that conversation right now. It's about how do you bring the first 10,000, how do you bring the first 100,000, how do you scale from there? So the way that we've approached, I guess, our infrastructure is two things, right? One is that we're bridgeless, so that provides the transfer of assets from, which will soon be even compatible, a much safer transfer without the bridge. But the second thing that we really thought about and we realized was a key critical issue in the last kind of bull market that we've seen is like, so hands up, if you paid more than $40 for gas on ETH in the last bull market, there you go, there's only one person, so only, there you go, there's three. Okay, so 3 traders. Yeah, there we go, right? So that's a huge issue, right? Like, as in what Web2 ecosystem do you actually have the project getting the user to pay for that transaction, right? So gas is something that we've reversed it. So we have that reverse gas model where we're saying the protocol pays the gas. So the onboarding of the users onto any ICP protocol is you don't need gas to do a transaction, right? I want to reduce every single roadblock that you guys are going to face, right, to use an ICP product. And those friction points that we remove are going to be the, I guess, little pivot points that we measure and say, is this something that's going to increase our conversion rate of the first 10,000, first 100,000, first million, and hopefully the first billion.
Awesome. Well, now since we kind of like touch on the multi-chain part, the other dimension I kind of want to touch on is also like, you guys obviously have been working in this space for quite a while. And on the DeFi space, what are kind of like the current innovations that have been ongoing? Yeah, perhaps let's start from Danny.
Right, so DeFi is pretty, I would say, pretty interesting, right? So like there are a lot of innovative part, like, in last summer, 2021 summer, we got a U aggregator, we got LP tokens, and then we shift it to some others, perpetuals, and then right now DYDX coming into Cosmos ecosystem. So I think what really interesting, or rather it just, from my point of view, the current DeFi is just copy from what Trade5 does. So it just become more composable, so users can actually stack on it. But if you looking at the securitizations in Trade5 world, so basically you just collateral your stuff, then in our world is LP tokens, then you stake your LP tokens to somewhere else to probably utilize it for forever. So I think what does whatever in being innovative at this stage is still copy from the Trade5 world. So and then I think the next big wave of DeFi would be RWA. So like converting the real world assets into it. But in DeFi world would be one more very interesting part is the composable part. So in traditional Trade5 world, so whatever you actually copy paste, you cannot actually stack on it because there are regulators, there are regulations, there are frameworks. But in DeFi, as long as you are the protocol is safe, then we can actually stack on whatever stuff or whatever protocols on it. Just for example, GMX. So the GLP has derived at least 30 protocols on it. I think that's the innovative part that I think we'll be seeing this in the next 12 months or 18 months. Yeah, that's my point of view. Thank you very much.
Sorry, we're good. Yeah, I'm just going to add on to that. Because I think that the touch point about the real assets, that's what I'm excited about. Like for example, the way I simplify it down is there is 2 sets of cash flows, right, in the space that we play. One is if you're a protocol, you're trying to create a cash flow on chain, right? And that's the likes of the Uniswaps, that's the likes of what Scala, all we're trying to do here today, right? But it's a very much it's a P2P environment, right? Especially in that bear market, right? Because as in the delta in the innovation, you're trying to bring users from one protocol to the next, to the delta in the innovation of that protocol. I think what excites exactly what you're saying is the real asset space is that it's a P2E, right? Because what you're trying to do is that you're trying to tokenize an off-chain cash flow. And that's exciting because that's what's going to bring hopefully the institutions and the retail in. And that is the first entry point for these guys to come on-chain. And then that, I guess, where they can disseminate from there is then onto all the other protocols that we're building on. So it's kind of taking it from a P2P to a P2E.
I don't think there are much. So we've been, like, I think, several cycles. Like, so myself, like the AMM, I think we have explored, how you can do, like, for several years. And I actually kind of agree that, Defi on Uniswap, that Uniswap v4 is kind of like an endgame. So, like, it's kind of like most of the variation we can build. And then this kind of like a more like optimal one. And of course, there are other people building like AMs, but I think for AM, the innovation probably will become less and less. And the other parts of DeFi, I think like this year, people talking about, I think like restaking, like staking yield, I think that's really cool. But that's probably not from DeFi. I think for DeFi, right now, we are more looking for adoption. So we know we can build AMM. We know we might be able to build Ogre. We might. So we can build AMM, and then there are many of projects that try to apply AMM to, like us, we've applied for perpetual, other projects, Zoma, they apply to options. So, it's just like different ways, and then I think it's just like, right now, we all know that it's possible. So it's just like who can execute that. So it's more adoption, like how to acquire user or those.
Hello. For sure we just take some idea from like OGs and the traditional finance. I agree that just the innovation is quite less and less nowadays, but I think it's also very normal because everybody on the stage or off the stage, we all stand on a giant shoulder, so that's why we are here, right? Yeah, and then I think just we can also just combine the innovation part from the layer 1 and then with your protocol and then with some improvement for your protocol for building or creating new innovations like Ryan mentioned some like a gas fee, no gas fee solutions and like I think including Switch, many like a new innovation blockchain solution. We also have this kind of design, like we also have a sponsored transaction. It's also a zero gas fee. And then one of the things I want to just promote about Scalab is like we have a thing called Scalab tools, and like nowadays people using Flash long by like coding and or deploy their smart contract on blockchain. But one of like the new solution is like we have a programmable transaction block. You can directly use like TypeScript and to just construct your multi-transaction into one programmable transaction block. What's make the difference between the old school Flash long and nowadays is you can even use UI. Just you don't need to know how to code, but you can implement arbitrage on blockchain. I don't think it's like a super innovation stuff, but just like we just keep like improving and then fixing some existing problems, and then just like making a better product. I think just like all of the founders are just doing well. Yes.
I'll actually add on a little bit onto that. So you guys are talking about like DeFi itself, like the algorithm design, etc. But one area that I've seen sort of related to DeFi and still kind of in the innovation phase is like Flashbot, MEV phase, actually, right? Cross-chain is something that we haven't kind of solved yet, and this actually also touches on like the multi-chain world that we are in, right? So we see MEV, Flashbot are doing the swap thing. Actually, the other side of innovation I want to point out is on the intent side. So that's also sort of related to MEV, but also the other side, which is the next topic that we'll touch on, is the mass adoption. Because, for example, intent is like a very user-friendly way to say that, hey, this is what I want and this is what I'm willing to pay, and then someone get it for you instead of you really specifying all the transaction details. So I just want to point out, like, it's sort of, yes, on the algorithm side seems to be slowing down. Cross-chain, not yet, right? And then the user experience, UX, which related to MEV and intent as well. So which bridges us to the next question. So, I think we want to get to the mass adoption question. Like, we're obviously we are hoping for the mass adoption, and like, what do you guys think are missing at this moment in the space? I heard already like RWA, like real assets, right, et cetera. So, just wanted to see if you guys want to elaborate on it. Feel free to take it.
That controversial, but I think we need more adults in the room. And what I mean by that is, I think if you look at the genesis of DeFi, right? You came out, you see these crazy APYs, right? You see all these Ponzonomics that came out. And that's what kind of brought that first wave of us, whether we're just degen investors or we're just here to make that quick dollar. It's not a sustainable ecosystem. Essentially it's a PvP, right? Like I take something from you and I win and you lose. You can't have that in a traditional, I guess, DeFi environment that we want to build. So I kind of feel like what we've seen in the last bear market is we've tempered down the expectation of what yield is, and we're starting to question things like, well, what is the source of the yield, right? Because obviously the question is, if you can't ID the yield, you are the yield, right? And this is where things like the real assets kind of they come in, right? So like what MakerDAO does is quite fantastic, right? They know it's a 5% Treasury bonds. Is it sustainable when the interest rates go down? Probably not. But what they're trying to do is that, let's be realistic, right? You're not going to get like 100% APYs anywhere, right? But you can get scalable, sustainable yields, and that is the first thing that's going to hopefully attract the non-crypto retail investors to get in this space. And what they're getting access to is not just yield, but yield from, I guess, locations that they could probably never access before. So it's more about opening up, I guess, assets to a more global basis.
Hello. Right. So I can't speak for the whole industry, but at least from the trading, or rather the perpetual trading perspective, basically there's just no mass adoption for trading. I mean, how many of you guys trade perpetuals? Right? Raise your hand. Right?
Very badly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So for trading is a very niche market, to be fair. So like if you're doing sports, you are actually very good. I mean, most of the people, I mean, when I was doing payment business, so most of the people will just buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stake it, or just doing a fixed deposit stuff. So that's the mass adoption, Mr. Bhatt. So the professional trader, like especially trading with perpetuals, it's just very, very rare unless you are like degen or you are like the trading master. So for us, I mean, from my perspective, I mean, perpetual is just not for mass adoptions because it's just too risky, and then the mechanics behind is just too complicated, to be fair. So although I'm running a perpetual DEX, but I think this is a fact. So probably we can go to 1,000 people to 5,000 people or even 10,000 people, but that's just the market we are actually aiming for. So what we try to do is to enable, so-called enable the traders, to let them know trading perpetuals, or rather a permissionless trading perpetual would be something more interesting and can potentially earn more yield on that. So traders are just like sharks. So they smell blood. So what we can do, or rather what Margex, or rather the other perpetual protocols are doing, is we try to get the mechanics more sustainable and more easy. I mean, traders, they can read rocket science stuff. They are more legit than us. And then they are willing to try from step 1 to step 100 just to get into your stuff, your protocol, to earn money. So what we try to do is to discover, or rather to unleash the other yield and then stack on it, then let the professional traders do whatever they want. So that's why we keep saying we want to do the permissionless listing, just like Uniswap. Because that's what we thought the best way to invent and to get in the real new yield on top of the RWA. Then that's the point what we actually try to achieve. Yeah, thank you very much.
Actually, I have one thing to add. That so I was reading a report from Kasei Bank from Taiwan. So they actually have a survey that for for users, like crypto investors from 20 to 30 years old, actually like 60% of them have traded perpetual swap before. So that's kind of interesting. So actually, there are like more people trading perpetual, especially the young people. Yeah, and for the mass adoption, it's not there yet. I mean, the whole like crypto, like blockchain DeFi is too complicated. I mean, even myself, like lots of, like if I want to deploy some funds into like some projects, new projects, there are lots of, you have a checklist, you have to, like review a lot of things. It make it even harder for retail. So I think, like we have a lot of actually improvement on the technology side. You can build app chain really fast, lower cost, lower gas costs. That you can do. You can use passkey, so that is kind of like I think it's acceptable from a security endpoint, point of view, not endpoint. So you have that technology, but the problem is the knowledge. To understand that providing liquidity is actually hard. So that part I think is hard. But I do believe that we will get there. It's just like centralized change. I think that's the target. So we can eat in their market share. So like Uniswap has already done that. So 40% of the trading volume on spot market is on Uniswap right now. So they did a great job. So for other like projects, we just try to do that and then to some level. Yeah.
Also like the education kind of thing, right? Like
education. Yeah, I think it's just education, and then it's real. To be honest, it's also really easy to lose your fund, right? So to be honest, that's the case. A lot of unknown like founders, a lot of hacks. So all those it kind of like combine everything together. You have this checklist if you want to deploy the fund, right?
Yeah, I do have to agree, especially from Quanstan's point of view. Yeah, security is definitely one thing that sort of still needs a lot of improvement. In terms of standard, and also just like ossifying itself, right? Like when you try and innovate like new stuff on top of like new chains, etc., you will kind of inevitably run into bugs that will lead to these unfortunate events. But then. Right now, Uniswap v2 has been there for quite a while. V3, people are feeling comfortable about it. It's almost ossified in that sense, right? And I think we're also just like getting through that phase where when I think it's actually a good thing when a lot of you guys say like, oh, there's actually not too much innovations on the DeFi side in that way. Because it means that we're starting to ossify the core algorithm itself and then focusing like outwards. Right, a bit more. Do you want to add anything? Yeah. Come on. Yeah, first.
Hello. Yeah, first I agree about education and security. Yeah, these two are the so important thing. And I also want to mention two things. I think first is about wallet, and second is about how to just bring your assets to the wallet. It reminds just like my family just they also invest in crypto because of me, but I don't want to hold their private key because just yes. Security issue, and just I teach them how to use FTX, and then just you guys will just don't know how sad that's when it happened, and so I think this is one of the most serious problems that nowadays for like grandpas and grandmas it's still difficult like for just letting to keep their seed or private key and then just to manage the cryptos, especially there's so many chains. So this is one of the things I want to mention. And second thing is about the assets. Nowadays, just like we all are like Taiwan dollars, new Taiwan dollars holders, right? But if you want to just swap your Taiwan dollars to maybe USDC on no matter Polygon, Ethereum, Solana, or Sui, it still just take a long time. What I want to mention is not about like the chain speed. It's about including bridging and transfer fiat to crypto, including if you have a Visa solution, it's like costs a lot. I think just how to bring assets from your real wallet to your on-chain wallet is still have some just way to improve, and also about the wallet solution. And for some solution like Sui is doing good. They have ZK login to let you Google login, and then some like a wallet also have some like a Web2 solution. But just looking forward to see how people solve this in the future.
Yeah, that onboarding experience is definitely very hard. Like you Google and like how to bridge to a certain chain, and you hope the first link that you click on is not like a spam link or sponsor link, right? And so all that, lots of trust in UX. So I think we're almost there. I think I want to like close it with something that you guys want to give the audience as a takeaway. Like maybe what kind of projects that you're looking forward to for people to build on top. In the DeFi space or user experience towards like mass adoption or whatever kind of like takeaways that you like to get. So go ahead.
Takeaway. I mean, like personally, I mean, like although I say that the innovation is kind of a lesson, but the whole like DeFi space is also growing. Like I said, it will eat into the market share of centralized change pretty soon. So I do believe that we have like 5x, 10x growth or even more. Also at the same time, I think the whole crypto right now I think is really exciting because like app chain, layer 2, ZK rollup, all those technology. I think it's just like, we know that it works, and then it actually people build that can work, and right now people just refine that. I do believe that the adoption will grow really fast for the layer 2 roll up app chain, all those. So that part, I think like a lot of things that it's very hard to do, like game, like other thing, is definitely if you start right now, I think you will be catching up with the chain, and then like once everyone has that technology they can use, they will use your app. So I think this is actually a good time to join. Yeah.
Look, I think tech is extremely important, but if we're looking at that adoption moving to 2024 and onwards, my feel is we need to kind of put down the tech hat that dominates the narrative in our space in blockchain, right? We have the ZKs, we have the rollups, we have basically bridgeless, all these things to the average consumer. They don't know. And I think more importantly, they don't care, right? Now, if you tell someone, hey, look, you can safely transfer assets. So like you said before, right? Bridging is hell sometimes, right? Sometimes it gets stuck for 30 minutes. And you're like, is it there yet? Like, if you tell them that you can have a fast, instantaneous like bridging experience, they care about that. They don't care the bridge. They don't care about the nodes it takes, right? If you talk about the idea of like no gas fees, right? They care about that because it improves the experience. And I think sometimes in our space right now, we're kind of too in love with the tech of what we're putting on, and it doesn't translate into how that tech actually benefits the users. And I think that's the education part which is missing, right? Speak from the user's benefit point of view, not from how great the tech is. Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with Yanwen. So the time is still early, right? So but I think sport is like Uniswap is a great example. So it launched in 2020, then it takes like 40% of the market shares at the moment. So Perps right now is like 5 to 6%, and then I think it has the great potential on it. And but what we actually seeing is the previous wave is, I think that the keyword is open, and permissionless. So we are actually seeing a lot of like new perp decks, or rather new DeFi becomes more permissionless. So people can come in, then be so-called innovative and creative, and bring in more people. I think that's the lifeline of DeFi. So being creative, being innovative, and so I think people like youngsters like you guys will be more interested to come into this space, and then you will be the influencer to your family, your friends, and then I think that will be the so-called mass adoptions will be in the near future. Thank you very much.
What I want to share is I believe in DeFi, and I'm 100% sure that DeFi will work in everybody's life. Just even you don't know you are using DeFi. Just like 30 or 20 years ago, some people even seeing like a internet bank is a scam, or shopping online is a scam, right? So yeah, and then it's the reason is also about DeFi is because if you cannot prove a system can run in a financial stuff very well, secure, and then non-stop, and just good user experience, you also cannot prove it can like have a full on-chain gaming or full on-chain social file. Yeah, I think financial should be the first priority just for all of the, including like a layer 1, layer 2 solution. Like why just people trust Uniswap or Compound Arbase, because they run for a long time and have a high security, and yeah, just have a lot of TVL. And then yeah, I think all of these DeFi space should follow their step, and then just to prove this system, this layer 1 can handle and be just treat this a good like a asset management. So yeah, just that's why just I 100% believe in DeFi, and then it's not too late for you guys joining today. Yeah.
Awesome. With that, I'd like to close the session. So thank you all, the speakers. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you.